Hey everyone. In all my videos, I've been using Adobe products, and some of you have brought it to my attention that you don't own Adobe After Effects or Premiere Pro. And you've asked me if there's another option out there, and there's a free version of Davinci Resolve. The free version does limit certain features, but it does include a lot of useful stuff for being free. I'll be discussing the workflow for setting up videos that you want to run through Stable Diffusion and how to bring the generated images back into Davinci to export as a video. I also have a very cool giveaway that I'll be giving more information about in the middle of the video, so stay tuned for that. Trust me, it's worth it, especially for you Resolve users. All right, let's get right into it. So if you haven't installed Davinci already, you want to come into this website. I will put a link in the description. Then you come here to free download. So you download Davinci Resolve, not Davinci Resolve Studio, because Studio is the paid version. And you click on the computer you're using, in this case, Windows. It's going to ask you just to register it, but it's going to be totally free, so don't worry. And so you download it and install it. All right, everyone. So I'm going to break this down as if you know nothing about Resolve. If you do have some experience with Davinci Resolve, then I would just ask that you be patient. I just want to make sure that everyone's on board and they understand what's going on. So when you first open Davinci, this is the window that will pop up. It shows the projects you previously worked on, or if you want to create a new project. In this case, we're going to create a new project. We'll name it just YouTube, create, and then it's going to open up this window. You're going to have all these tabs in the bottom. These tabs have different functions. You got edit, fusion, the ones that we're going to be messing around with the most. Let's go into edit. You're going to have this little window here that's a media pool where you're going to bring your files into. I have a video here. I shot it with the GH5, and for some reason, Davinci doesn't accept this file. It's supposed to accept this file format, but for some reason it doesn't accept this specific file. So it only takes the audio from it. So what I have to do is I have to convert it into a different file format. So the way I do that, if you can try putting in your clip, if it works and it's in there, then you're good. You don't have to worry about this next step I'm about to talk about. But if it's not working, then you have to download a converter, and I'm going to show you which one I use. I use Handbrake. It's totally free, and there should be a link in the description if you're interested in downloading it. It's quite simple. You just put in your video file into here. It's going to load it, and your video's there. You can see it. Then you got to make sure that you have all the settings that you want. Like in this case, I want to make it an MP4 so Davinci can read it, and I leave everything like this. I make sure that the dimensions are correct. Make sure that the frame rate is what you want it to be. If you're not sure what all this information is at, then you can right click on your clip, go to properties, and you go to up here where it says details, and it shows you the frame rate and it shows you the width and height. So 1920 by, I don't know why this is 1072. That should be something else, but yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. But I'm just going to keep it 1920 by 1080. Then you put the frame rate. In this case, the frame rate is 59.94 frames per second. You go save as, come here, save as, save it in the folder that you want, save it in, and then save. And then you just click on start encode. It's going to take a little bit of time converting. All right, so my file's ready. And if I put it into my media pool, I'm going to get like this warning. This warning is telling me that the frame rate is different from the default frame rate that Davinci has. The default frame rate for Davinci is 24 frames per second. So in this case, you can change it to the video frame rate and just press change. If once you put the file in here, you do want to change the frame rate, you can always change it. You can just click on the file, right click, and put clip attributes, and you can change the frame rate here. If you want to make it 23 frames per second or whatever you want to make it. And this is very important because later on, when we export the video, that will determine how many frames will be exported. This is not like Premiere and After Effects where you can change the frame rate you want to export the image sequence in. You have to make sure that from the beginning, you change the frame rate to whatever you want it to be. From here, you can bring the clip in here. It's going to create a timeline, and you have the timeline here. If you click on this list view, you get to see a lot more information on these. If you scroll to the right, you will see like the frames per second. Let me drag this up closer so that I can see the frame rate. So the timeline frame rate is 59 and the video is 59. So I have my clip here. Actually, let me just Let me color grade it really quickly. So I did a really quick color grade to this. I didn't want to spend too much time on it. So you come back to the edit tab right here where your video clip is at. So you want to find the part that you want. So let's go to a section where we want to start, like right here maybe. Yeah, like right here. And you come to the edge of the clip, you drag this here like that. Bring this to the beginning of the timeline. You can zoom in by pressing Alt and then scrolling up to zoom in like this. So you can see the clip a little bit better. And then come to the end of your clip and just drag the end right here. All right, so there's your clip. Now it's ready to export as an image sequence. In order to do that, we go into this tab where it says Fusion. And as you see here in Fusion, the colors and the changes that I made are not affected here. So if I try to export this now, it's going to be without the color. So what you have to do is you kind of come back to the edit window and then right click, go to new compound clip and click on that and name it whatever you want. Just put colored. Yeah. So that essentially creates a container for your video. And now when you go into Fusion, you have the color that you want and you can export it with the color. So here, what you want to do is you want to create a node. So click on the media in one node right here and then press Shift space. And then you're going to type in saver. And then you should see the saver here. Press add and it's going to add it. From here, you're going to go to browse and you're going to choose where you want to save this image sequence. You go to browse. I have a folder here where I want to save it, and make sure that you put the file type that you want to save it as. So in this case, I want to save it as a JPG. If you want a PNG, you can save it as a PNG. Just make sure that you name it. If you don't name it, it's going to save it as another file. And if you do save it as a PNG file and you want a transparent background for some reason, then you come into export here and then you press save alpha to color. But in this case, we're doing PNG, so it's not going to be a transparent background. After you put where you want to save it, then you come up to here where it says Fusion and you're going to put render all savers. So you click on that and it's going to save all the frames to that folder. So as you can see, all the frames are here and you have them numbered. Hey everyone. You probably don't know this about me, but I'm a freelancer who works with different clients. And as a freelancer, I know how important it is to deliver high quality videos to my clients, especially with tight deadlines that were due like yesterday. That's why I'm super excited to tell you about MotionCan's graphics pack for Davinci Resolve. I've been actually using the pack for a few years now, and when they reached out to me, I was like super excited. So I want to tell you a little bit about it. This graphics pack comes with 2,250 plus elements, including animations that support auto size resolution for any aspect ratio. This means that no matter what kind of project you're working on, you'll be able to find something that fits your needs. And the best part is that all the animations are super easy to customize, so you'll be able to make them your own with just a few clicks. It also comes with 600 plus sound effects, making finding sounds for your video super easy and accessible. And I'm giving away 10 copies of this graphics pack. All you gotta do to get a chance to win is to leave a comment below telling me which feature from the pack you're looking forward to using the most for your projects, and put hashtag graphics pack. This giveaway is only open for a limited time, so make sure you enter right away for your chance to win. I will be announcing winners here on YouTube when the giveaway ends, so make sure to subscribe to my channel for updates. Good luck, and I can't wait to see what amazing videos you create with MotionCan's graphics pack. Let's say you don't want it to be 16:9 frame. Let's say you want it to be a 1:1 frame. So what you do is you come to the bottom right where you see this cog, you click on that and you come here to timeline resolution. You click on that and you choose 1080 by 1080 HD square, and that should make it into a 1:1 frame, and that will make it into a square, right? And you can try to fit it in here, but you're gonna run into an issue because you come back to Fusion here and guess what? It's not a square. And when you export it, it's not gonna export it as a square. Just like I did with the color grade, you have to create a new compound clip. Like, that's if you haven't already done a compound clip. If you already have it in a compound clip, this should already be in a square. I put in a compound clip earlier because I color graded this and I wanted the color grade to be exported as a sequence as well. In this case, I don't have it on a compound clip, but if I do put it into a compound clip and just put, for example, 1:1 for this one. Now that that's in the compound clip, I go to Fusion and bam, now you got your 1:1 here, and it's gonna export as a 1:1. So this is a little workaround you have to do. It's not as straightforward as you would think. An issue that I run into sometimes, and you might run into it, if you run into this issue where you don't see the clip anymore, like it's black, then you just go inside the compound clip right here, open in timeline, and it's in here. You should be able to see it. And if you go back, you don't see it, but if you go to Fusion, then you see it again. And when you export it, it should export fine. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's just my computer. Yeah, if you do run into this problem, this is how you get around it. And now you should have all your images in a 1x1 frame. Now the amount of frames you get is based on whatever your frame rate is. If you change this, then you can have different amount of frames based on the frame rate of your video. In this case, it's a lot of frames. I'm not going to run all of them. I like to do a little trick. I don't want to have to change this to 24 frames and then try to find the area of the clip again. I'm just not going to do all that. I'm just going to do a little hack that I do. It's kind of like ghetto, but yeah, I bring the folder down like this, and then I have 2 columns. I know you guys are going to be like, why are you doing it this way? I just select one side of the column, and then I'm going to delete one of the columns, so I don't have as many frames to generate. In this case, I don't want to generate all of them. You can generate all of them if you want, but I'm not going to do it. So you do this. Now you have every other frame. Now you just got to click the very first frame, Control A to select all, come up here to rename, and it's going to number it in order again. Now you have 90 instead of 179 frames. You can use frame interpolation to kind of blend them together so it doesn't look so choppy, because you are missing some frames, but it's up to you. Like I said, you can do all the frames, you can do some of the frames, it's however you like. So once you're in Stable Diffusion, you bring in some frames, you go into your image to image here, and you put a prompt, negative prompt, put your ControlNet settings. I talk about all this stuff in my previous videos, and I have some playlists that talk about ControlNet, and I have playlists that talk about Stable Diffusion and how to play around with those settings, so you can check those out. Get as much style as you want. Try running different frames to just check for consistency. I'm not gonna try to perfect this. I'm just trying to go through it fast so I can just show you how to put it back into Davinci. So as soon as you get the results you want, you can come up to batch right here. Make sure you copy the folder URL and then put it into input directory, and then create a folder for the output, copy that URL, and then put it in output directory. And then you just run it, and it's going to generate all these frames with the style that you decided to go with. So I generated all the images. It's not amazing. I didn't want to spend too much time trying to perfect it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this folder with the frames into the media pool. But you have to make sure that before you do that, you come here to where it says media, and then you come right here where you see these little 3 dots. Click on that, go to frame display mode, and go to sequence. If you have it in an individual and you try to bring this folder in here, it's going to give you all the frames. And you don't want that. You want it to be a sequence. Let's go back, go to media again. Make sure that you put sequence. You go to the edit tab, bring the folder in, and now you have your sequence. You bring this in here, and you might notice that it's a little bit faster. That's because I'm using half of the frames, so I just press Control R to change the speed, and then press this little arrow, and right here where the 100% is at, and then put change speed to 50, and then it should be the exact same length as the original. And then you should have this. As you can see, it's very flickery. Let me go and make it even slower than this. All right, so this is what it looks like. If your video is looking a little choppy, you can use frame interpolation to help smooth those frames out. You come here to where it says retime and scaling. You go to where it says retime process and put optical flow. And then you play this, and they kind of blend a little better with each other. It has like this warping effect. It might be something you don't desire, maybe something you do want. You can mess with the motion estimation, which gives you different results. If you put standard better, it takes a little bit more processing, but it helps out a little bit. Yeah, so you can keep going up all the way to enhance better, but obviously it's going to take way more processing that way. So just be aware of that. So that helps with smoothing out some of the frames. So there is a way to get rid of all that jitteriness that you're seeing. There's like a deflickering plugin in Davinci, but it's not in the free version. It's only in the paid version, unfortunately. So I have a video talking about it. If you're interested, there should be a link above and also in the description. So once you get your video, whatever you want, the sequence that you want, then you can just go to deliver and then export it as a video, whatever format you want it to be, MP4, and then go add to render, save it where you want to save it. This job one's going to appear and you just render all. So now it's rendered. It's not the prettiest thing, but like I said, just wanted to show you how to do it. Let me actually run it through the paid version. At the moment, unfortunately, there is not a way to deflicker it without using this paid version. There are some softwares, from what I understand, out there, but they're all paid plugins. There's nothing right now that is free that would do this, at least not to my knowledge. You should be able to preview what that will look like. As you can see, there's just a lot less flickering happening. With the deflickering plugin, it looks blurrier, but it takes away a lot of that jitteriness that you see. So that's the workflow for getting your video into an editing program where you can export it as a PNG sequence and you can bring it back into Davinci to export it as a video. This is through the free version right here. You can see up here, it's the free version. So for anybody who doesn't have any editing software, you can use this for free. I'm pretty sure your computer has to have certain specs, but I think for the purposes of doing something like this, I think it might work for a lot of users. So hopefully it works for you. So I hope that was helpful for you. I appreciate you watching. And as always, take care. God bless. Peace.